What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven, and in today's video, we're going to be checking out the Chemistry album from Kelly Clarkson. This will be the first Kelly Clarkson album I've ever listened to in its entirety, so I'm really looking forward to this. Before we get to today's video, I just want to plug my Patreon. All of the financial support for this channel comes from Patreon. I appreciate my supporters so much, so I do a lot of exclusive content over there. I have over 100 full uncut album reactions. That's where we jam the entire album together. It's a much longer reaction. People tend to like it because they feel like you really get to experience the album with somebody, which is always so much fun. So if you guys want to check that out, this album is already up there as a full uncut album reaction listening party. Yeah, so if you want to check that out, links in the description. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to drop a like on this video if you like it. If we get over 1,000 likes, I will do the deluxe tracks for this album. That'd be pretty fun. So if you guys want to try that, smash a like, subscribe, all that out of the way. I'm ready to dive into this. This first track is Skip This Part.
If I could escape all this hurt and this pain, oh, I would. My heart can't forget the ache before the man. I'd like to skip this part.
Oh yeah. You already know the amount of pain it's going to take because it kind of sounds like this is a relationship ending, and you know that, like, even though it needs to be done, there's going to be so much pain associated with it. So much trauma that happens when you go through a breakup, and Kelly's almost saying, like, I just wish I could just end the relationship and then get to the mended part. Like, I don't want the ache in between the mend. Oh.
I'd like to skip this part, 'cause you're so deep when it feels like the end.
I also just love the other piece to this lyricism, which is, it's not just that you want to skip the pain that you're going to go through, but what it kind of sounded to me like in that second verse is more so like there's certain steps to this that have even held me back from ending this. Which I think, you do tread lightly when you know that it's going to be this huge news story and all these things are going to happen. And you almost start to wonder, like, it's easier for me to stay with this person than to have to be the headline of every single thing because it didn't work out. I really can't imagine having to be a celebrity of this level or somebody just of fame where it's like everything you do is somehow like critical news to everyone else. I feel like it would make you live your life it's kind of like shut in. That run. Oh, dude, that entire last section is very just like, if I needed to describe Kelly's like fucking talent, I would just show that last part just because it's like everything kind of combined at once. So good. I love this because it's a very vulnerable piece to every sort of like breakup or, something big that happens, especially when you're on the level that Kelly is. But there's something about like having to not only experience the pain of the relationship ending, but like then having to relive it every fucking day after that for so long. Like that amount of like pain would just be awful. Like usually what happens, you like go through a breakup, you kind of like go through the stages, and then you kind of like stop talking to them for a while, and then like that time apart really builds you back up. But if every day you are reminded of it or questioned about it or brought up in a headline, like, I would just be so awful. So very incredible. Also, Kelly said, she can't even numb the pain with her sweet Mary Jane. So you know that even if the weed ain't hitting, Kelly's really going through it here. Okay, this next track is Mine.
Stay, as long as I stay, yeah, line and steal your shine like you did mine.
Oh my God.
Gonna show you how hard can be used like you did mine.
Dude, that entire vocal run right there, on top of the fact that the lyricism is just so fucking hard hitting about somebody who just used and abused your love all the way, basically until you were nothing. And then they want to move on to the next thing, while having to address the fact that, like, hey, look at what you fucking did to me. Like, I hope that you never do this to somebody again. But then having the vocal run like Kelly does, that's what we're here for. So good. God, I love that strong vocal there. She comes in so hard here. What the fuck? Oh, I gotta take that note one more time. Fuck. Yeah, I love this. I love that bridge in this song so much because this song has that ballad, very vulnerable style to it. And I love that, with that range of emotions that comes with what Kelly is singing about here, that bridge is necessary because there is an anger component that happens there. It's not only the heartbreak, but once you start moving past those emotions, you get to the part where you're just fucking pissed that somebody did that to you. And Kelly addresses that so beautifully in this bridge. I love the entire tempo change, really felt the mood, the atmosphere change within the song, which is amazing. Her vocal runs are incredible here. I mean, that's going to get so annoying for you guys because I'm going to keep saying that throughout this album, but we're 2 songs deep and like that shit is hitting so hard. Okay, this next track is High Road. Got some 80s ballad vibes right now. Don't show you lonely. Put others if there's no task. I just assume one. I feel the burden. Perform for no one. And I walk the high road when nobody else is. Yes, dude, this is so good. Yes. I like that this is like his uplifting lyricism here as well because it goes with the whole like 70s and 80s sort of like ballad theme. I feel like so many songs back then were just like very fucking uplifting, i.e. Eye of the Tiger. Come on. Yes. Ooh. It's just my ego and my pride. I live my life in disguise. Ooh, come on. How many? It doesn't matter how fucking real you are in life. Part of you always is a little bit of a disguise. You're always kind of like hiding something. We do really good at masking our shit. Ooh, she comes in so strong with these vocals. So I see like a lot of pieces here, from the standpoint of trying, it feels uplifting in the sense that like there are these pieces about the mask that she's wearing essentially. And she's talking about all these like things that she does or would do in this piece. And then there's the reality of her, and kind of like what that looks like. And I like that because it shows that I think there's a piece to this that we sometimes look at celebrities, artists, people that are just famous in the world. And I think we don't like associate them with just being a human sometimes. And that's kind of what Kelly is talking about here, where she kind of feels like in the spotlight, she has to do things a certain way, essentially be the hero, take the high road, all these things because of who she is and how she kind of feels like, she tries to keep the happiness in the world, the peace in the world, but then saying like, but I don't need this. I don't need this anymore. The idea being like, despite all the reasons that I try to hide this, at the end of the day, this is killing me. And so I'm just going to do what I have to do this time. And I think there's a lot to that. There's a lot of growth in that as well. Again, it goes right back to, say what you want about celebrities, but like, yes, they have a lot of money and fame and fortune and opportunity. I'm not being sarcastic. They really do. They have these things, but they're also still humans. And like pain is just, it's relative to your situation. And sometimes we forget that people have to deal with that shit too. Okay, this is Me.
to be able to step back. I lived my life without me. I never allowed me to.
That shit is fucking deep right there. I lived my life without me. I've always been what other people wanted me to be or persuaded me to be or kind of forced me to be without, remembering that like who I am on the inside matters more than any of this. And imagine living your life that way.
Pieces up, I put together my broken. Let go of the pain I've been holding. Don't need
Having that gospel choir in the back, like Kelly's vocals are already so strong, and then you have this huge emotional piece to it in the back. And this whole idea being, I went through all this tragedy, but I don't need to find another person to try to bring me back to, my happiness. I'm just going to use this pain and rebuild myself and finally be me for once.
I told you I wanted you. I told you. But you needed me to need you.
I told you I wanted you, but you needed me to need you. So you can get in a relationship where, and true love is never changing the other person, right? So get in a relationship where two people mutually come together and it's beautiful. Or there's this sort of like abusive side of it where somebody can find a way to essentially make your world rely on them. And it's this power hungry thing. That's not really love.
You already was the death of you and me. Too many times you questioned what were my intentions. I never gave you reasons. You're the one with secrets. I don't need somebody.
Wait, that's also really that's an intense lyric too, because oftentimes when people start suspecting somebody of cheating or kind of like just not being faithful in some way or being sketchy, it's usually because that person's hiding something and then like they're trying to, it's almost like they've got this like internalized secret that is like coming out. And they just start accusing other people because they feel like if they're doing something sketchy, other people should be too, or would be. That's really fucking difficult to live with. I mean, just being around people that are like lying about shit's already hard. But like when you're in a relationship and the other person has definitely started to keep a lot of secrets from you and they're accusing you of things and stuff, they're probably doing something shady on the side.
I don't need somebody to
There's no one else. You are the reason I said goodbye. I'm not leaving you for somebody else. I'm not leaving you for something else. I'm leaving you because you did this. I'm gonna go live my life. That's oof. Dude, she fucking goes off. What the fuck? Dude, I could just listen to Kelly hit these vocal runs all day. It's like you never know where the note's gonna go because she's got all these ranges, so you just kind of like wait in anticipation, which is so much fun. I love this song. This is so uplifting. Okay, obviously there's like a lot of sadness to it, but it's a very uplifting track because it's this sort of realization that like people often feel like they have to be in a relationship to have meaning. It's a really sad way to live. Just because it hurts because you don't feel that closeness with yourself. So people feel like they have to get it from the external love. But Kelly went through that for a very long time, obviously, stayed in this relationship, let all these things happen, completely lose herself. And then she's able to rebuild that love for herself and realizing I don't need to go get a rebound. I don't need anything besides the love I have for myself to get me through this trauma, because maybe that's the reason I ended up there in the first place, is I haven't had that. So that very like uplifting, like remember to love yourself first. That's going to make you a better partner. It's going to make you a better person, make you feel better. But it's just really hard to get to. So just that uplifting track like that, but then having these vocal runs, which are incredible, and having that emotional piece to it where, you know, Kelly's going through the emotions as she's singing about this. And I fucking love that. Great track. Okay. Down to You.
That mistake again. I can't dance with the devil on my back.
Oh, that rasp in her voice right there.
Again. I can't dance with the devil on my back. These dark days are knocking on my door. You ain't welcome
Woo! I'm on a different level than I was before. You can't bring me down to you. And that's not just in this situation. That's on like a life level. Like, you know, when a person gets in a relationship with somebody that they are definitely better than. And when I say that, I don't mean like in terms of looks or in terms of like financial success or anything, but better than. Like, everyone kind of like has a partner, somebody that kind of like is on the same wavelength, right? So like, maybe your wavelength is a lot higher than this person that you get with, right? So you get with them and this person feels sort of like, you know, less than because they can see just how much potential you have, right? And so what happens? They start cutting at you a little bit, bringing it down, bringing the negativity until you guys are somewhere here and that power dynamic is there. It is not fucking healthy. And Kelly says, no, I am not going to be brought down to you, bitch. Ooh, she got that ice cold heart. That's when you know, like, that fucking shit, like, breaks down, like, the fucking relationship's over, and this person is such a scumbag to you that, like, you can't even be on a friendship level with them because they're always gonna try to fucking, like, take you down a notch. Oh, such a good beat. You can tell that Kelly's just going through a lot of self-discovery and, really self-growth. It sounds to me like there's a huge emotional component to all of these songs, but there's also this sort of like emotional motivation there as well, where Kelly's like expressing the pain, but in a way that has a positive impact. And I think there's nothing cooler than that. Cause like, yeah, sometimes life sucks, but like, how do we figure out how to go on? Cause like, if it's not over yet, then even though it sucks, we got to do tomorrow too. So like, what can we possibly do to make that step better? And that's kind of how I feel about Kelly's music. All right, this next track is called Chemistry.
And feel a part of a magic you can't deny. Me someone erase my heart. I've been broken into. How'd you get in?
Okay, this is a super important song because oftentimes people will really criticize people that keep going back to a relationship that, you know, despite the amount of, you know, anger and rage and sadness and all the things that came from that relationship, you see people and they keep returning to it. And you're like, why? Like, why are you doing this? Chemistry. It's the thing. You may not be compatible on like on any sort of like communication level or maybe love or any of those things, but you just have this chemistry with somebody that it makes it easier to fall back into old times, not remembering the bad times. Yeah, sometimes people often seem pulled together, even if you know they are meant to be apart. See, that's the other part too, is like you build enough time, chemistry, and, you know, past love together that at some point that person feels safe. So even when things are hard, the minute that they feel a little bit easier, you want to go back to that place that feels like home, even if it's toxic.
Hold me close, fall into my arms, I never let go. Oh, our chemistry cuts me deep. I stay awake 'cause round you my heart breaks.
I stay away 'cause around you my heart breaks, meaning she already knows. She's going to be drawn back to this person even though she doesn't want to be, and all that means is it's a temporary fix, because as soon as it's over, the pain is going to be there from, again, putting yourself through the situation. This next track is Favorite Kind of High.
Close my eyes, kiss you how I like. I've been waiting for you. When it comes to loving you, I don't have no control.
Okay, this is a very real thing, right? Like when you have a really strong connection with somebody, you know, if you've ever like met somebody and you kind of hooked up or whatever, there is this like sort of like rush that happens, right? Your heart starts racing, it's just beating so hard, you're short of breath sometimes, there's a lot going on in the body, right? And that's like why people get high, right? Because it just feels good. It's like a hug on the inside, right? So if you can get that from a person, which you definitely can, yeah, of course people are going to chase that. I mean, it's usually like a very like physical connection and so much is happening. I just love this like 80s inspiration for this, like in that instrumental. Hey! I'm also glad she's got this on here to break up some of the sadness, right? We got this banger about just being overwhelmed by somebody. Ooh. Why is she doing all this? She's fucking so good. This is ridiculous. Especially this last part. I'm obsessed. Let's go. Oh my god. What I love about this too is, like I said, it's a fun, obviously like upbeat love song, right? You're just like having this amazing attraction to somebody, just makes you feel everything on the inside. And I like that because there's been like a lot of sadness, right? And even though those songs have like an uplifting piece to them, I still feel like the overall sadness is there. So right at track 7, bringing us in with your favorite kind of high, I think just kind of like, you know, woo, brings me back, makes me realize like, okay, I know that like, you know, I got some uplifting pieces off High Road and Me, and I'm gonna feel really good on Favorite Kind of High. So this next track is called Magic.
And I've got my sights, and they're set on you. And one day this will run. In the dark I see, through the raging sea, I'll be ready.
Fuck. There's so much going on. I'm like trying to listen to this, to like the lyrics to this, and like really capture the feeling of it. But then Kelly's hitting these fucking notes that are making my brain like feel like they're being rewired.
But still so real. I don't care where you have been. I don't mind your lips on my skin. I don't know where to begin, but I'd like to end with you.
Oh, I love just like in the production of things. It's like, man, just I wish somebody would just like send you a track and it had like every single piece already pulled apart so you could just like really listen to each piece of the instrumental. But I really love these layered vocals right here. I said all that just to say that. It's ridiculous.
Begin, but I'd like to end with you.
So good.
And it's hard to be close enough to breathe. I'm in your space, but I tread so carefully.
God damn. Like that, listen to that note. And then also listen to the fact that there are layered vocals on there as well. It's so good.
Enough to breathe. I'm in your space, but I tread so carefully. I don't care where you have been. I don't mind your lips on my skin.
Ooh. I also really love the layered vocals. It's just, I don't know why, it's one of my favorite things. It's like you want to hit a crazy note, you want to hit a harmony. I love it. And then you just start adding, either layering your own vocals, harmonizing your own vocal in a different note. And before you know it, it's just this beautiful thing that happens. And it's just one of my favorite things in music. So anyways, this next track is called Lighthouse. Hey, that's a very real thing that happens. It's very easy to get confused sometimes if you've never experienced real love, but you've only experienced pain. You associate pain with love, so you love it, and then when you're hurting, you're like, well, this must be love. That road that always seems to come right back around. Remember when we had dreams to fly away. Used to be, and there used to be no shooting stars can fix what we are. Okay, so much emotion right here. So seems to me like this is what happens. Somebody is in love with somebody even though they know they shouldn't be together, but there's some pull that person has over Kelly, keeps putting her back into this misery, and he becomes this crashing wave that is navigated to her. And what do crashing waves do? Over time, they just erode. They just continue to like beat you and take you down until at some point you are just one with the sea, like everything else. You're being engulfed by this person. And it's like, yeah, lighthouses are supposed to guide you to safety. They guide you to the harbor, to the pier, whatever. Like, you're supposed to be guided to safety, but kind of just seems like, what's the point of this? You're just like being pulled my direction to me, but my lighthouse is burning out. I don't want to be that person for you anymore. Fucking piece of shit wave person.
To survive. Hidden underneath, we were crumbling. No shooting stars can fix what we are. What good's everything all the time.
Oh, I love like the theatrics and drama of that right there.
And I feel what we were washing over me, questioning everything all the time.
Oh.
Ask me to change.
Oh.
As if I could do that.
That is when you know right away. It's like people will show that they are somehow like attracted to you as a person because of these things about you. And then what happens is, because those things about you shine so bright, that, you know, other people are going to be interested in those things as well. So what do? Well, if you can stomp the flame out, nobody's going to be coming for your person. So that's what it sounds like this other person did, is try to like remove the spark from her life so that other people weren't drawn to her the way that this person was.
What good's a lighthouse when the light is burning out?
Oof. Yeah, I love, obviously, like, Kelly's going through a lot in this album. It almost feels like this is, you know, getting it all out there so that she can start to feel like maybe she's moving past it. And there's a lot of pieces to it too. It feels like this is part of that grief process where she's addressing a lot of this stuff, but then also kind of like seeing the positive of things. When I say that, I mean like seeing the positive piece of it not being a thing anymore. Like, you want to be able to see just how rough this person was in the relationship, because you need to remember those things whenever the chemistry is pulling you back, whenever you feel like you're like the tide is pulling you in. Like, you have to remember these things that you went through. So this next track is Rock Hudson.
I was never what you wanted.
Ooh.
Like a real life movie. Didn't it just seem? You said we were doing fine as you set the whole place on fire. I tried it.
Oh, you said we were doing fine as you set the whole place on fire. So nothing worse than going to somebody in a relationship and spilling your heart out for them to make you feel like everything's fine and that you're just, I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. That's not what's happening. And at the same time, they're literally doing all the worst shit, making sure that it's not, man, there's nothing worse than fuck. Everybody's dated somebody like that. So I actually wish that the instrumental was a little bit heavier in this part. I just feel like I've heard it a little bit in the other songs too, so like I know that we could go a little bit heavier on it. But I feel like because you can hear the emotion coming from Kelly, it would kind of like bring it in a little bit more intense if there was just a little bit more distortion there. Like, it feels a little too uplifting in the guitar, you know? Like, especially with the "you can blame it on me, I don't care what you think." Like, I would rather it be a little bit more like, have a little bit more punk to it. You know what I mean?
I had never thought I could choose. It was always gonna be you, even when they told me not to. You were all I won't let you control. No, I won't be what you are.
By the way, piece by piece, I found out my hero's me. That's so much growth. Like, to be able to say, I found out that I don't actually need somebody to pick me up because I'm here and I am strong enough to do this. Maybe I just never saw it in myself until now.
You made sure to keep me small enough to keep me in between.
Oh. That's also another reason why finding out that you're the hero is very important, because the person that you're with is going to try to cut you down so much that you never see the potential you have within yourself.
I don't care what you think. By the way, piece by piece, found out my hero's me. By the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge place to end up, being able to see the other side of that piece and find that strength within yourself, and also realize that you don't need anyone else, even if you felt like you did, and even if the person that you were with cut you down so much that you literally felt like you needed that person, when in reality, you're all you ever needed. Okay, this next track is My Mistake. Oh.
You would love me.
Oh. Maybe I misunderstood what our wedding vows were. I'm sorry.
I get no prize for being innocent. Into my mind.
Ooh.
Must have been my mistake. Swore I heard you say you'd be my way.
There it is.
My name like
Ooh.
music from your mouth. The night our home became just a house.
Fuck. There's just like so much pain in this too. And I feel like if you are on the receiving end of this album, like you fucked up, and Kelly is making sure that you know it. There's a couple things she says here that I really like. One, I love just addressing the wedding vows, because I think people forget about that a lot. Why get into a relationship with somebody and create these vows and swear these things together if you don't actually want to do that? Nobody's making you do that, right? So when you do that, you think that you're getting into a partnership with somebody who's going to uphold these promises they're making to you. Which is why I like when people do like vow renewals, because like it's cool to be like, hey, I promised you these things 10 years ago and I'm going to re-promise you now, because here we are and we're still doing it. But I also like that she addresses sort of like the love falling apart, the home becoming a house. There's just so many pieces to this where you're getting to like really watch that relationship crumble like right in front of you. Oh. Let's fucking go. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I am just such a fan of hearing the emotion in the storytelling aspect of a relationship falling apart from the other end, right? Because Kelly even says here, and I think it was one of the hard-hitting lyrics that kind of like stuck to me the most, was basically like, there's no prize for me upholding my promises. There's no prize for me being faithful. So all I get is this relationship falling apart, me having to go through this pain because of some choices that you've made, where now you're lying and hiding things and we're fighting and everything has fallen apart now. So like, I'm out. Like you get nothing like for being good in this situation. There's no win. You only get heartbreak. And I think like after hearing that lyric throughout the rest of the song, it's all I could think about is like, yeah, I can't fucking imagine. You make the promise, you devote all the love and attention and time and healing, and you try to fix things, and you always are faithful and always there, despite the fact that the other side is not doing that. And so at the end of it, you just get to feel like shit when you were feeling on top. It's really fucking a bummer. Okay, this next track is, I love the title, Red Flag Collector.
I don't mind, I changed it anyway.
Ooh.
They say the worst part of your chest, play cowboy in the wild, wild west. I don't mind, you know.
Okay, I fucking love so much of this. There's a rock / like country kind of vibe to it, which perfectly suits her vocals. It's one of the things that she's just like so fucking good at, is these like genres. Doesn't matter. She's great at crossover. That's all I'm saying. I also love the idea of just like pointing out all these things about this person. Like, yeah, you can have the towels, the money, you can talk shit about me, whatever. I'm already on the other side of this, because now I see in hindsight, like what you are. This is so good. Oh, Don't you know that there's only one truth? That's true. There's not your truth and my truth. No, there's one truth. One thing can be true. And at the end of the day, you got to live with what you do. Woo! God damn, where are these notes even going? High road living is what I do best. Believe that. Man, that's so fucking good, because it takes so long for you sometimes in a relationship to see just how shitty someone is. And so the whole time, Kelly is just collecting those red flags and his troubled seas. And then you get to the end of it and it's all over and you're like, huh, wow, I just let a lot of shit go, didn't I? Sometimes you need that post-relationship clarity, because I feel like without it, it's hard to see just where things are when you're in it. Sometimes you have to take a step back. It's why we don't often want to hear it, but a lot of times our friends and family can see the things that maybe we can't see, or that our brain is choosing not to see at the time. But then after the fact, you're like, yeah, that person really was like that. Okay, this next track is featuring Steve Martin. This is I Hate Love. Okay, I gotta just take it back to the start of this vocal run. Also, I like this song because the idea of, like, if you've never been in a good love relationship and it's only been your idea of what love is and it wasn't good, you would definitely have this opinion. It would be, fuck love. I don't want anything to do with that. That is the kind of pain I don't want to, like, ever feel again. And I feel like anyone who's been in a hard relationship that ended, that's how you felt. But then, like, when you finally experience what, like, regular love is like, it's like, oh, I don't hate it so much. But it's really hard to see that when you're in the thick of it. Damn. Ooh. I can almost hear this, like, musical piece to her voice too. I don't know that I've ever heard her do any musical stuff. But you can, like, hear it. Like, you hear the theatrics kind of in it. That's super cool to hear. I guess I've never noticed that.
Nothing left here but a mess. I played the fool, yes, I confess. Counting your blessings on my back. Living your best life, living fast.
Love this. First off, love that it's a collab with Steve Martin. Steve Martin, you know, banjo dude, obviously funny ass dude as well. Sometimes I've heard that he's kind of a jerk. I don't know if that's true. I see the pun because he's in The Jerk. That was actually my favorite movie growing up, so I'm a fan of Steve Martin. I love this because you got the banjo going. You've got Kelly really showcasing this, like, Broadway style in her voice. And the reason I like it here is because, one, that's Broadway, obviously it takes a lot of talent, but the storytelling piece to this, making me feel the theatrics, making me feel the emotional pieces of what you're going through and why you've come to the conclusion that you hate love now. I like having that Broadway kind of feel to it, where it feels like it's being acted out for me. I'm really getting to experience what Kelly is going through here. And then at the end of the day, I love the lyricism here because, yeah, if your experience of love has only been garbage and trash and pain, then yeah, why would you want to do that? I also like that she says that the Notebook lied and then chose Steve Martin over Ryan Gosling. That's a choice. Steve Martin does have that, like, he's pretty foxy though, so I could see it. But great song. I also love the idea that the chorus is very different in this. There is that kind of, like, 80s synthesizer beat kind of happening, but it really does feel like almost like a song you'd almost hear at a wedding, which would be awful because of the song, but it just reminded me of like The Wedding Singer. Like, I feel like I could have seen Adam Sandler performing this track. Yeah. Anyways, all right. The last track that we're listening to is That's Right, featuring Sheila E.
Words, they won't stick and I won't chase them. I won't have your ghost.
This song sounds completely different than anything else on the album. I kind of love that.
And all my revelations, my heart matters most. Keep the money, I'll take freedom.
Ooh. That's when you know that, like, I see this sometimes, these celebrities, they, they're in these relationships and somebody, like making so much money. And then it's like when the divorce ends or when the divorce happens, settlements all go down. The husband, at least that's what we've seen, gets like this huge payout. Like it's a lot of fucking money, right? And so you have to know as Kelly Clarkson, that's like, I'm just going to take this huge like pay cut because I would spend $500 million to get rid of you, to not have to be around you anymore. So that's essentially what you're doing, is you're having to pay off so the other person will go away. That's awful.
I ain't no damsel boy. Me standing here wasn't by mistake.
Ooh.
Keep your tame white horse away from all my wild.
Again, with that self-growth, I love the amount of self-discovery and just sort of like uplifting pieces of the fact that I'm learning so much about myself and I'm complete by myself. I'm allowed to hate love because I'm good on my own.
That's right. That's right. On myself in ocean eyes. That's right. You and I really mean.
It also fits. It's very fitting too with the water coming out. The water's coming up. I'll let it wash you away with the tide. Being that, we've kind of talked about Lighthouse and things like that, but also with this song kind of like closing it up. Like I just went through all of these emotions and now we're going to close it up with this positive little banger about how you're gone. Bye-bye.
That's right.
So I, again, love this as an outro. I think it's really great to have something, again, where you can kind of see like, this is the growth. These are the things that I've acknowledged are not working in my life. I'm going to let them wash away with the tide. And with that, moving on. Great album. I don't know a lot about the very public relationship ending with Kelly Clarkson. Like, I don't know enough about it to even like sit here and have dialogue about it. But what I love about this album is that it puts me into the mindset of Kelly at the end of that relationship and having to go through the pain throughout this. So it's cool to have an artist write something from their perspective in a way that really makes you feel all the feelings that they've had going through it. So even though I don't know any of the specifics, I can tell what was going on in this relationship based on these songs. I think Kelly does a really great job in this album expressing that emotion while also taking us on journeys of self-discovery. I feel like that's one of the big things I got out of this, is seeing the relationship and all of that falling apart, but then being able to see within yourself what you have to offer and who you are as a person and how that can be like a positive takeaway from all of this. And Kelly gave me that with every one of these tracks. She is a vocal powerhouse, and that's probably an understatement. It's so cool to hear the runs that she pulls out of nowhere. You don't hear a lot of artists do this kind of vocal work. And I like the fact that these songs are written to be both catchy and be both very fitting for her vocals as well, to have that style, to allow extra space within those notes to really like pull a run out, hit that rasp, go for a higher note. I think it's so cool to hear all that coming together. I like that. Well, I feel like there was a decent amount of ballad styles here. I never felt like the album was slow. The tempo always felt nice to me, which I think is good because we're talking about a lot of heavy emotions here. So again, if you want to have a little bit of that positive twist on it, you do want that instrumental to have a little bit more tempo. And we definitely got that here. Definitely towards the end, the album brightened up a lot more. Actually, after Favorite Kind of High, I know we still had some sad tracks, but when I heard that, I was like, okay, I see where this emotional roller coaster will bring us to. So even with I Hate Love, it's this sort of tongue in cheek about how love sucks, at least in her experience. And therefore, I don't really want to experience that ever again. Don't know why anybody would. But even being able to be playful with it. And then of course at the end, having basically just a dance party, expressing how excited you are to be over this person. And this was the final moment. And I think that's a lot to really experience here. This is the first full album reaction I've ever done from Kelly Clarkson. And I love it because so many of these songs were not really what I imagined hearing. I've really only ever heard her like big hits. So yes, I've heard some of the ballads, but I wasn't really sure with this album where we were going to go. And I like that there wasn't one style in particular. I like that we had it mixed up a bit, kind of kept you on your toes about what was coming next. Again, when you have an artist that is so like versatile as she is, that's what you're going to get. So this was sick. Yeah, I don't know what the other albums sound like. So you guys gotta let me know, like, should we do another album reaction? Like, should we dive into more Kelly? I'm definitely interested. I love the songwriting, but I also know that she wasn't always going through a very public divorce. So it'd be interesting to hear what the other songs are like and where her writing style comes from. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you guys go to Patreon and see this as a full uncut album reaction. It looks like this video is about an hour and 20 minutes long. The YouTube version is usually like a third of that. Got to cut a lot of music out for copyright and pacing and things like that. So if you guys want to support the channel, it's only $3 and you get access to all of the content. There's like 400 videos. It's pretty fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section your favorite track off this album. Make sure you guys smash the like button. If we get over 1,000 likes, we'll do the bonus tracks from the deluxe edition. So let me know. I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.